You know that moment where your players want to go out into the city and actually buy stuff. And are you the kind of dungeon master that really wants to roleplay that situation where your players go to different shops and different places to buy and trade their goods and their wares, but do you have a hard time coming up with NPCs or different store types or prices or for mounts or magic items or whatever? Well, there is a solution for you right now, because there is Loresmyth's ultimate guide to remarkable shops and their wares. I'm doing a giveaway of the Remarkable Shops book by Loresmyth right now on my channel. I'm actually giving away 4 of these, and I'm also giving away its predecessor, 4 copies of Remarkable Ints, together with some random drawing decks that Loresmyth also creates. I'm giving away a lot of stuff in my video. Make sure to click that video somewhere here, because it's a huge, ridiculously huge giveaway and you should enter. I know this is the 3rd video in a row for Loresmyth, but I just wanted to finish things up with this video because I've been doing a unboxing video of this book. I've uploaded a giveaway video of this book, and now I just wanted to create a video of what this book actually is. So this is my official Mr. Tarask review flip through video of Remarkable Shops and their wares. The last video of Loresmyth in a while, probably. So what do you get when you buy, win, trade or steal this module from Loresmyth? Well, you get a guide on remarkable shops, and you don't only get like a module that has a bunch of remarkable shops, because there are a bunch of remarkable shops in here that you can just implement into your game immediately. Just pick them out of here, just put them in your game, read them through, put them in your game, run them. They're fine, they're completely cool. There's some really odd things in here, but there's also a system for you as a dungeon master to create your own shops, bring them to life, make them memorable, which is very important. And then this last part, this is completely amazing, and I'm implementing it in my game immediately as we speak. There is a system in here for your players to run and manage and actually come up with their own shop, and there is all kinds of percentages and roles, and it's an entire system to see how much profit you make and what happens in your store, how to have like personnel in your store. There's an entire system in here, and I will talk about that when we get to it, because we will just flip through this module and see what I think is cool about remarkable shops and their wares. But before I do that, I want to strategically place my sponsor right here in the video, because this video has been made possible with the help of the Reroll app. The Reroll app, I have a few videos on it on my channel, is a little handy app on your smart device or your desktop computer or your laptop or wherever, where you can create a character and bring it to life using pixel art. You can create your own character using pixel art with a bunch of different clothing options, weapons, hats and shoes and whatever, and you can really make your unique character on your phone or wherever. You can fill in its stats, you can have everything that a player sheet character app thing has, plus the pixel art. I can offer you 10% off the Reroll app right now if you download it, and if you use my promo code TRSQ. Just TRSQ in big fat bold letters when you download the Reroll app. Will give you 10% off, and you will support my channel. Thank you. The first chapter is called Remarkable Shops, and they are 8, if I'm not mistaken, 8 shops in here that are completely finished. They're done, they're completely written out for you to implement into your game. I mean, prizes, there are magic items, there are things to buy, things to sell, NPCs to talk to, there are story hooks, rumors, everything. There's artwork for them, and they reach from a underwater shop that's run by a kraken all the way up to a flying bazaar and a bazaar in a cave, and there is like an old windmill, and there is a big shop, secret shop, all the way up a mountain peak where nobody ever gets. And when you get there, you can buy something or something. They're very cool shops. They are very well thought out, and I will just pick out a few that I think are really cool. For example, there is the Bazaar of Marrakesh, which gives me like a typical, almost stereotypical Arabian vibe. like a bazaar in a cave where it's full of life. There's all these buildings, there's all these markets, there's all these like carpets against everything, and there's camels and everything. It's in the desert, so it gives me a really Arabian vibe, and I think it's very, very cool. So something they do for every store in here, well, first of all, there is a little column right here, and there's some artwork accompanied with it, and there's a little comment right here where they talk about the wealth, the prices, and the security and the influence the store or the bazaar, in this case the marketplace in this case, has. So for example, this only has one shield security, like there's 5 shields, and if it only has one shield, then there is not a lot of security, and there's a lot that can go wrong. So if you go into this bazaar, there's a chance you get robbed or stabbed or whatever, I don't know. There's a lot of random stuff in here that can happen to your characters. There's actually random rolling tables in here for stuff that can happen, and if you're in a store that has little security, there's way bigger chances than for a random encounter than in a store with very high security, of course. Also in that same column, they talk about the wares that they sell in this particular store, in this bazaar. For example, magic items, exotic animals, and rare artifacts, and also services like arcane lore and underworld contracts and stuff like that. They also talk about what they don't like. Paladins are really not welcome here for some reason, so if you have a paladin in your party, make sure to disguise him in some way, him or her in some way, because they're not welcome. There's also a favorite section in here where they say warlocks, tieflings, and monks are really welcome, and there's a bunch of them in this bazaar. And because of this place being a low security bazaar, there's actually this random rolling table where a lot of random events can happen. I already said that it existed, but here are some random events, like a brawl between 2 rival gangs erupts, or a fire breaks out and some people try to put the fire out with water and other people just flee, so there's a lot of panic and everything. There's a person that just tries to rob the players of their belongings, like of their gold. They just puts a wand against their throat, and they tell the characters to turn out their pockets. Stuff like that, random stuff that can happen, especially in a low security establishment. Then they talk about a bunch of NPCs your players can encounter in this bazaar. For example, there's this catfolk person that everybody likes, and he sells some very fine goods, but basically what he also does is he's kind of a guide. He runs up to the characters and tries to guide the characters through the bazaar, and after that he will probably ask for money, but he's like a very likable catfolk person. Everybody likes him and everybody knows him and everybody likes to see him coming to their stores, because most of the time he brings guests to the store, so he's a very liked person. On the other hand, there's this Durgar person, like it's a grey dwarf who has a few goods to sell, and they're not bad goods and they're not very, very special goods, but he specializes in like the whereabouts of political targets and information on the Underdark and stuff like that. There's a bunch of NPCs in here just ready for you to use. Then there are some particular items for your players to buy within this store. For example, there's the Death Mask, which costs 2,000 gold pieces, which is a mask you wear, and if you should get killed, then the mask actually takes the death. It only does it one time and then it just gets banished. The mask takes the death and your player is grievously wounded, so probably like a big scar on their face or something like that, or they lose a limb or whatever. It's at the Dungeon Master's discretion, but they don't die, which is a very expensive item, and there's a bunch of items your players can find right here. And after that, they talk about a lot of rumors that are going on. For example, unexplored tombs. There are some tombs out in the desert where your players can go and they are not explored, and there's probably some magic items in there, and your players can pick up some items to help them in their dungeon crawl. So it's perfect for when you're playing a desert campaign and you want your players to get to certain tombs. You can insert this bazaar in there and they will have a lot of role-playing opportunities and a lot of like flair before they actually go into their dungeon crawl. Something that I really like is that they keep every store to 4 pages, which is not a lot, and you're probably thinking only 4 pages, that's not that much and why is there so little content, but I actually like it a lot. First of all, the artwork that is in here does not take up a lot of place, which means there's a lot of place for text, so there's a lot of content on these 4 pages. But the thing is, you can really read up on this on your way, like on the train, or if you are a passenger on your way to a game and you have to come up with a story. You just open this up, read the 4 pages and you're ready to go. You can read up on this, or you can pick out what you need when you are on the toilet doing your thing and you go out to the table and act all prepared, like we all us dungeon masters do, is acting more prepared than we actually are. Grimble and Sons Thinkerlings is a flying airship. A flying airship is an airship that flies from town to town selling all kinds of goods, and the airship is huge. There's a bunch of creatures that swarm the airship that hold banners like we're now in town and we are landing and we're coming and stuff like that, all commercial stuff, and it is like a gallon of a ship. It's huge and there's a bunch of rooms in there with a bunch of store, and it's of course all owned by a really chaotic inventor gnome kind of dudes called Himmler, who is one of those thinker gnomes that really, if you see them, run away because they're probably holding something that can explode. And this place has 4 out of 5 shields when it comes to security, so there is no random rolling table for random events, and I wouldn't try to steal anything. There's also this kind of spooky building that is a barber shop that also offers secret services. If your players know any of these code phrases, for example, make it a clean cut, you're actually asking for an assassination of somebody using poison, and it will cost you 5,000 gold pieces. Or how about the House of Harmony, which is a big circus-like tent that sits on a wooden plateau in the middle of the ocean, and there's all kinds of docking places around it for sailing ships, and it specializes in bard equipment, like musical instruments and other things that bards use in their adventures. To name one funny magic item, there is the Look Sharp Lute, which will cost you 150 gold pieces. And when you strum this instrument, there is a sharp and crisp tone that comes out of it. And it can change your clothes, whatever you are wearing, to whatever you want to be wearing. So you can go from all the way rugged look to a noble look by just strumming this instrument. Oh, have I said that all the pre-made shops are mapped out in the back of the book? Can always come in handy, right? Then there is a section called Bringing Your Shops to Life. And this is basically the system that the creators use to create their own shops. At the beginning of this book, the first 8 shops, well, everything they use for those shops, and I'm talking about wealth, influence, security, the wares, how good the wares are, how bad the wares are, what can happen, shopkeepers' influence, all that stuff is actually explained in here, and how you can implement it into your own shops you created as a dungeon master for your players to explore. You can use this system and these tips and these tricks and these random rolling tables to create and to bring your shops more to life, and very important, to make them more memorable. But it is this section that completely blew me away, and it's called Player Operated Stores. It's a complete system for your players to have a store, to run a store, to manage a store with personnel and everything. So I want to take a deeper dive into this section right now. It's very hard to completely explain this system to you guys using a video holding this book in my hands. You have to experience it for yourself, and it is very cool. But I will just give you the basics right now. First of all, you will have to choose what kind of store you are creating. And they're asking you here, there's like a brewery or a butcher, a carpenter or a library, stables, tailor, tavern, alchemist, artificer, all baker, everything, a blacksmith, whatever you can come up with, almost everything is in this. And you can actually, you get a building cost of whatever you want to create. For example, we're just going with baker. We want to start a baker in Dungeons and Dragons. Why not? We're adventurers and we are sometimes hungry. We're gonna bake bread. We're starting a baker. That's 5,000 gold pieces to actually build the building, have people supply the wood and everything. That will cost you 5,000 gold pieces. Now, you get to choose if you want it to be the size of your store. If you pick a size, tiny, small, medium, large, or huge, it kind of influences your price. For example, if you take medium, house-sized stores, you will pay the 5,000 gold pieces. It was 5,000, right? It was 5,000 baker, 5,000 gold pieces for a medium. But if you wanted to go tiny, like in a cart or a wagon, it's minus 25%, right? So we're now paying less. Anyway, you want it to be small, single room stores, it's minus 10%, large, it's plus 10%, huge is plus 25%. So you have this basic price, but if you want it to more tiny, you can make it a lot less cost heavy, or you can make it very huge, big ass bakery, and you can make it a lot more expensive. So let's say we want to build a huge library, a huge bakery, and we're going to call it the Big Ass Bakery. So it adds 25% to our cost. So that makes 5,000 makes 6,250 gold pieces, if I'm right. 6,250 gold pieces for the Big Ass Bakery. It's triple B, it's our store. Big ass bakery, everybody should come to our bakery. Anyway, then we have like the building costs for if you want it in a village or a town, which is neutral. If you want it to be in a city, it's again plus 25%. Metropolis, it's plus 40%. If you want it to go rural, I don't know what that is, rural, that's like off-grid more, I think. It's minus 25%. So our big ass bakery, let's say we put a big ass bakery in a town or a village, it's just still the same price. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff to influence the price. If you want it to be in a riverside or a local poor area or a famous site or a war zone or stuff like that, it all influences the price of your bakery. So we got this big ass bakery. It will cost us 6,250 gold pieces. We're building it and we'll have to wait until it gets done. Then we actually have this system. First of all, there is a random rolling table right here where during the construction a lot of random stuff can happen. For example, the forest gnomes supplying you with timber were attacked by a hydra and they are demanding a compensation. The effect is that the characters must pay 100 gold pieces to the forest gnomes because they got attacked by a hydra trying to supply you with wood. So there's a lot of stuff in here like that, and then we get to the profit roll. And this is genius. You have like a stuff of things that can influence your profit roll. For example, if you have a medium store, no, we have a huge store. The Big Ass Bakery is a huge store. Depending on the quality of our goods, poor, normal, or high, we have to pay a certain operating cost. If we make poor bread, we'll have to pay per month 750 gold pieces every month for poor bread. If we want to make normal bread, it costs us 1,000 gold pieces because we're huge. By the way, we're huge. If we would be medium, it only would be like 100 gold pieces. But we're a big ass bakery right now, so that's 1,000 gold pieces. If we want high quality, that's 2,000 gold pieces. Anyway, the profit roll modifier is actually depending on that. So let's say we are the biggest bakery and we make the finest bread there is in the entire known world. It is high quality. It makes our profit roll go up all the way up to +7. Then there is a business operating event that could give you a negative profit roll or a positive one. There is like a tax break, or there is a hidden treasure in your thing, or there's a business rival shows up, stuff like that, which can give you a -3 on your profit roll. And then you make the profit roll. Depending on everything you actually calculate it, you have one modifier for your profit roll, and you just roll a d20 every month. You first pay up for your upkeep cost, then you roll a d20 and you add your profit roll, which in our case would be, let's say it would be a +8 because we have increased supplies. We rolled a 15 on a random check, so we have increased supplies and we have that very fine breath, so we roll a +8. Anyway, we roll a 18, which means that 18% of our cost for building, of our 6,250 gold pieces, that's our profit for this month. Basically, you just roll a profit roll each month and you get that as a profit, and you have to pay your upkeep cost every month, and you hope your upkeep cost is lower than your profit. Basic business, right? There's also a section on creating your own shop, and although that's basically what we did in the previous section, the previous section is more about the numbers and the profit and the cost and the upkeep and everything, and here they just talk about how the shop looks, what items you are exactly selling. So let's say if you're a bakery, you could be specialized in certain types of bread, you could build your building out of stone or out of wood, how that looks, what potential side businesses you can have, stuff like that. This is more the flavor part of building your own store, and I would give this to my players, like, here, build your own store, make it look like you want, and now we're going to figure out the numbers and see if we can make a profitable store for you as a party while you go out adventuring and you come back. Let's see if you made a profit. So these two sections really complement each other. One is more number crunchy and the other one is more flavor, and I really like they split it up. And that's basically it. No, I'm actually lying my face off because there is a lot more in here that I'm not talking about. Because like always, I just flip through books, I talk to you what I think is really cool, but I also deliberately leave stuff out for you to discover for yourself. Is this module worth it? Yes, it's freaking worth it. It's such a cool and original module on building your own remarkable shops. It is like a perfect follow-up to Remarkable Inns and their drinks. I mean, this thing will give you 8 very well thought out shops you can place in your adventures. It gives you the tools to create your own shops, bring them to life, make them memorable. It gives your players tools to create their own shop. While they go out adventuring, they can have their own shop, a barber or a bakery or a blacksmith or whatever, and they can create their shop, manage it as a side activity. It gives the tools to your players, it gives the tools to your dungeon master. If you have one copy of this thing at your table, it will really enhance your game if you're playing that type of game where your players get a little bit of the freedom to do whatever they want. And if they ever say, hey, how about we open our own shop? It should ring a bell to you as a dungeon master. There is this book by Loresmyth that does that. And just go out, buy it from the Loresmyth website, which is in the description below. Or you can win one, because I'm doing a giveaway and Loresmyth gave me a bunch of these to give away to you guys. So if you are on the fence on buying it, or you want to buy one and have another one to give away to somebody else, that's perfectly fine. Make sure to enter the giveaway. So yeah, that was my review, flip through, whatever you want to call it, of Remarkable Shops, Loresmyth's ultimate guide to remarkable shops and their wares, the follow-up to Remarkable Inns and their drinks. A very fine module, yet again. It has everything for you as a dungeon master to create cool shops in your world and to give you more fun playing Dungeons & Dragons together with your players. Anyway, until the next time, I hope your inspiration may guide you.